Now, from 12 Sports, PC Hoops with Coach Kim English.
Well, it was arguably one of the biggest games of the season for the PC Friars on Saturday. They were hosting Villanova, a team they were tied with in the Big East standings, and one they lost to in the first meeting. A lot on the line for both teams trying to clean up their NCAA tournament resumes. Kim English and his group had a 37-34 lead at the half. Came down to the second half. As usual, Villanova looking from mid-range. Mark Armstrong hits the jumper. 2 of his 10 points prompts the Friars timeout. Seemed like a lid was on the hoop for PC early in the second and breaks through for the 3. PC down 10. The Friars continue to try and chip away. Garway Dual hits the triple to put the Friars within 6. But every time the Friars came striking distance, the Wildcats had a counter. Tyler Burton for 3. PC falls 71-60, 500 in Big East play.
Tough game. I knew it was going to be a battle. Give Villanova a ton of credit. I think Kyle's done a great job, these past month and a half or so since he really got those guys playing. I think they're the most talent in our league. We had a quick talk after the game. We'll watch the film tonight. We'll meet tomorrow morning at 10. They'll lift weights. We'll scrub this game, and we'll prepare for Georgetown.
Well, the road to the NCAA tournament just got a lot more complicated for the PC Friars, though they are still in control of their destiny. It's a logjam in the middle of the standings with 4 other teams within 2 games of 500 in the Big East. Sam Knox joins us in studio now with more.
Many tabbed the Villanova game at home as the biggest contest of the year for the Friars, and a lot of people have their attention turned towards the NCAA tournament hopes for Providence. But remember, it's step by step, especially in the Big East, and Kim English isn't looking past anyone as the regular season finishes up this week.
There was a road game at Georgetown on Tuesday night, and then we have a home game against the best team in the country on Saturday. We got to get better, Coach Felton did a great job explaining to the guys in the locker room. The beauty of this league is we still control our own destiny with 2 great opportunities in front of us, starting at Georgetown Tuesday night and Washington, and then Connecticut at home on Saturday.
As the season has progressed, young players are taking advantage of their playing time, including Garway Dual, who saw increased minutes against Villanova, Jaden Pierre's battle with the flu.
I thought Garway took steps in the right direction. He's growing. He's learning how to play harder, make decisions. He did some good things defensively. This is great. I mean, it's a great opportunity for young guys to get to play against this type of experience. I mean, Tyler Burton, Dixon Bamba, Justin Moore. You're talking about some really accomplished, vets in college basketball.
And Tuesday's opponent, Ed Cooley's Georgetown Hoyas, have only won 2 Big East games this season, both against DePaul, who is winless in league play. The Friars absolutely need a win on Tuesday as time is running out to turn in the NCAA tournament resume. Taylor?
All right, thanks, Sam. It's time to look at some PC Hoops trivia, and this week's question is, what is the farthest the Friars have made it in the NCAA tournament? Figures with March around the corner, we should start talking about tourney questions, and you can send your answers to sports@WPRI.com. Whoever gets the right answer first will win a prize, and I'll reveal the answer at the end of the show. Still to come on the PC Hoops Coaches Show, Sam Knox is back. He caught up with head coach Kim English after yesterday's loss to Villanova. That exclusive interview is coming up next.
PC Hoops with Coach Kim English continues.
Despite having similar records, Villanova has had Providence's number this season. The Wildcats defeated the Friars twice by double digits, most recently yesterday at the Amp. Sam Knox talked one-on-one with head coach Kim English following that loss.
All right, welcome back to PC Hoops with Coach Kim English. We're joined now by the coach following their 71-60 loss to Villanova. Coach, first, what was your message to the team in the locker room?
I thought it was growth from Marquette. I thought we played harder. I thought we played with a better spirit, intensity. But this time of the season, the margins are thin, so you really have to, execute to your principles at a pretty high clip. When you're down a guy, Jaden was battling some things, you got to be even better So good for playing harder, but that's the price of admission in this league.
And in the second half, they seem to continue just to make shot after shot after shot. Is it harder just to punch back when they're seemingly making everything?
Yeah, I mean, your punch is your defense. Your punch is your defense. And then the follow-through is what you do after the stop. You don't want to, we've won a couple of games this season where it's basket after basket, but, the best teams in the country, if you look at the top 25 defensive teams in the country, they're all really, really good.
Can you speak to the growth of Garway? I know you said, obviously, you want to have Jaden in the lineup, but having these types of experiences for Garway seem to help him, and I know that you and Coach Felton were kind of giving him some in-game tips, but just talk about the growth of him.
Yeah, all of our coaches do a good job, coaching them during the game. It is good. There's an opportunity, more anecdotal things that we can point to help him become better because, with where we are, we need every guy we have right now if we're going to have any chance to finish the season on a positive note.
Going to Georgetown now, opportunities these last two games. Of course, you don't want to lose a game, but you still have two great opportunities to win games.
Yeah.
Just the opportunity to do that.
Great opportunity against a team that did some really good things to us against us the first time. Shooting threes again, and offensive rebounding. I'm such a big Supreme Cook fan. I think he is just such a good college basketball player, tough, strong, physical. I think Georgetown's talent it's as good as Villanova's. The guards they have. Some of the transfer, they have a very talented group. So we'll have to be ready to have a chance to win on the road.
And in those second half timeouts, what were your messages to them? Of course, not in every single one. Like there was the same message, but as you're going along in that game, trying to kind of find ways to come back against this team.
It was, obviously we're talking about what happened in the sequence before the timeout or what led to the timeout. But overall, just our connectedness and togetherness. I felt like it wasn't great, and I felt like theirs was great. Theirs has been great for the last 15 years, and Kyle has done an incredible job keeping it great, keeping their attitude, keeping their together, keeping their culture great. If I wasn't the coach of the other team, I'd enjoy watching them stay together. And it's what we got to build here, and I'm excited to.
And you did say the other night that your ideals and principles are very similar to Villanova.
Yeah. We shoot a lot of threes. We, except they got a lot of every one of their guys can play like Josh, get to the post, make passes out of it. They got all shooters. One non-shooter on their roster, or maybe one, but they've great program.
And the importance of player leadership at this time of the year, how big is that?
Player-led teams are better than coach-led teams, and it's a big challenge, but, we'll help our leaders, but everything is on me. Our shortcomings are all laying on my plate. Everything rises and falls on leadership. So I'd like to think our player leaders have that type of ownership, but, it's up to me to get us where we need to be.
All right. Coach, thank you.
Still to come on the PC Hoops Coaches Show, point guard Jaden Pierre's growth over the past year has caught the eye of many within the Friars program. More on that when we come back.
PC Hoops with Coach Kim English continues.
Coach Kim English's affinity for point guard Jaden Pierre is well documented, playing him one-on-one to keep him out of the portal, and just last week singing his praises after a career game at Xavier. Nick Rojas has more on Pierre's evolution from year 1 to year 2.
Entering his second season in Friartown, much was expected of Jaden Pierre. The sophomore guard was projected to be the starting point guard for the Friars, which may seem like a tall task. For Pierre, it was a role that he's been working towards the entire time.
Really, I really didn't have too many expectations, just to be myself. I feel like I've been putting in work in my whole life to be where I am now, and just not trying to do anything different, but just stick to what I've been doing. Staying in the gym, trusting my teammates, trusting my coaching staff, trying to lead, be a vocal leader, and just really help run a team. And do my best to help win basketball games. That's really my expectations for this year, and I didn't really try to do anything out of the ordinary.
His teammates from last year have seen the growth in the Elizabeth, New Jersey native as he has developed into a vocal leader on the court.
Yeah, Jaden is a sophomore this year. He took a big step once again last year to this year. Just his voice on the court and making sure everybody's sticking together on the court.
I've seen a lot of growth since his freshman year, the sophomore year, which was much expected coming from him. I've just seen him just really control games. At the beginning of the season, he just had to kind of find it. Being put into the starting PG role, it's a lot of pressure on your shoulders, a lot of responsibility. I see him in here working all the time, so that'll relieve any type of pressure there is. And, I just trust him to lead our team when we out there. He always does the right thing.
Freshman guard Garway Dual has picked up a thing or two from his sophomore teammate.
I was learning how to stay course, how to play through mistakes, how to take coaching, how to handle situations. Like, even if throughout the whole game you play bad, next game you gotta have a different mindset.
With only a handful of games remaining, Jaden spoke about what he wanted to see from his team going forward.
All of us just buying in and taking everything personal in the defensive end. I feel like that's going to be our biggest difference over the next few weeks. Really leaving it all out there every time we get out there on the floor, not holding anything back. It's really just coming together more. I know you say it is like everybody says come together, but really just doing it, coming together on all aspects, off the court, on the court, being real with each other, holding each other accountable, and just having fun out there while we're playing.
For Providence Friar Basketball, I'm Nick Rojas.
Here are 5 Friar facts. The program has been to the NCAA tournament 22 times. They've won the Big East tournament twice, regular season title once. 4 former players and coaches have been inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, and the Friars have had 7 All-America selections. Still to come on the PC Hoops Coaches Show, WPRI's Kevin McNamara joins me in studio to break down the Friars' loss and talk about opportunities to make a statement to the selection committee ahead.
PC Hoops with Coach Kim English continues.
Welcome back to PC Hoops with Coach Kim English, and we are here with Kevin McNamara. K-Mac, let's break down the loss on Saturday, Villanova. A really critical point in the season where you don't want to see them fall. Where does that put this team? Like, are they on life support right now? What does this do?
Yeah, I like life support. That's not a bad answer. But I tell you, this time of year, everyone wants to bury people. You're in, you're out, you're out, you're in. There's games to be played, and I thought Kim English made a good point of that post game. They play the best team in the country next Saturday. Well, Providence can't beat Connecticut. Well, of course they can beat Connecticut. I mean, they're in their league. They're on their home court. If they take care of business against Georgetown and Connecticut, they're right back where they need to be. If they don't beat Connecticut, hey, there's more games. You go to the Big East tournament, probably have to get, I think, at least to the semifinals of the Big East tournament. So there's games to be played. Is it time to panic? Well, of course. This is what March is all about, right?
And Villanova, is that just a bad matchup for them, or is this something that's more concerning about this Friars team?
Well, I do think it's a bad matchup, and I think they're one of the most talented teams in the league. And I wouldn't say they've underachieved. They underachieved. They had, I'd say, 2 to 3 bad losses in December, and they're still making those up. But if I'm the NCAA tournament committee, I look long and hard at that Villanova team. They have veterans. They're clearly shooting the ball really well. They play tough defense, and they're experienced. I like them.
There's a lot of teams that are kind of stacked together in that middle portion of the Big East standings, Providence being one of them. How much does that play a role in terms of the NCAA tournament and their chances when you look at all of those other teams who might be off by one, who's in, who's out by one game or so?
Yeah, and I do think the bracketologists have it pegged pretty good. The middle of that Big East is going to be tight. St. John's they'll be favored to win their last 2. That's 11 wins. I think getting to 11 wins is going to be important. Then it's tiebreakers and the Big East tournament. I wouldn't say play-in games down in New York, but there could be 1 or 2 where you better win and not lose in that first round of the Big East tournament.
What does this Providence team have that says, okay, they should be a tournament team?
They have those quad 1 wins. I believe it's 5 right now. 3 road wins. Have an opportunity for another road win on Tuesday at Georgetown. like to put that in your back pocket. But there's some issues with their resume as well, and that's why they're on that bubble line. Again, there's a few things that they could do to giant check marks. One is, of course, UConn next Saturday.
What can they do to beat UConn? Because they came close, or at least, let's say, played them tough in stores. What can they do next Saturday in order to get that done?
Well, right now, Providence has issues on both sides of the ball, right? Especially defensively. Marquette put 90 points up on them. Villanova really shot. They made a lot of open threes. They need to guard the three-point line better. They need to play better defense. And this defense has been, very inconsistent against the better teams in the league. Some of those teams, by the way, some of the best in the country. And I would regard certainly Marquette there, and certainly Connecticut. What do they need to beat Connecticut? Connecticut now have a good shooting night from the outside. That's number one. Maybe some foul trouble. We saw that in the first game. Too many fouls in that UConn game. And just they need more than two guys to score offensively, and that's a real key.
And I don't want to overlook Georgetown, because remember who is the coach of Georgetown. Do you think that he knows, he and his program, who obviously didn't get the warmest welcome here to the AMP, do you think that that's in their minds at all, that they could potentially put a needle in the coffin of this Providence team?
Well, I think Georgetown has been in a spoiler role for a while now, and they've played better in the last couple of weeks. They haven't been able to close the deal a couple times. They had Xavier really in a deep hole the other night, let a 15-point lead go. Providence is going to have to play well in that game, and the good opportunity to go on the road, sweep Georgetown, get some confidence to go into Connecticut and the Big East tournament. Tuesday's a very big game.
Why should teams be afraid of this Providence team? Should they be? Well,
the combination of Aduro and Carter is as good as it gets. Now, Devin Carter struggled a little bit. I think he went down in the first half of that game, the Villanova game. He's been nursing bumps and bruises for a couple weeks now. But the combination of Josh and Devin is legit and can win games. I wouldn't say all by themselves, but we've seen them dominate Big East games this season.
As a whole, this team, do you have any concerns in terms of the mental side of it and the toughness standpoint of the group?
No, we all know what their issue is. Once Bryce Hopkins went down, they got smaller. They're not as good of a rebounding team or a defensive team. And most importantly, on the other side, offensively, that third scorer, that fourth scorer, when they get it up and down their lineup, and we've seen that a few games, but the consistency to do that, that's really been a problem with this team. So, you give me some Corey Floyd and some Ticket Gaines and some Jaden Pierre on a consistent basis, this team's going to be difficult to deal with.
All right, K-Mac, thank you so much for joining us. More of the PC Hoops show continues after this.
PC Hoops with Coach Kim English continues.
We've made it to the final week of the Big East regular season, and the stakes are at an all-time high for the Friars. Two opportunities to convince the selection committee they're worthy of a spot in the dance, and it starts with a must-win Tuesday night at Georgetown. Ed Cooley's Hoyas looking for their third conference win last night against Xavier, up 11 in the first half. Jaden Epps hits the triple. He had 20 points. Hoyas up 14, but that lead would disappear in the second half. Davion McKnight to Desmond Claude for the slam, and Claude had a career-high 36 points. Musketeers win 98-93. Number 3, UConn hosting Seton Hall. First half, Donovan Clingan dominating the hook shot. He had 19 and 11 rebounds. Second half, UConn up 16. Tristan Newton knocks down the 3. Newton finished with 17, 10 assists for a double-double. Second half, Huskies up 25 now. Freshman Stephon Castle puts a bow on the win. Game high 21 for him, 91-61 the final. UConn wins the Big East regular season championship outright for the first time since 1999. All right, here's a look at this week's schedule. The Friars start on Tuesday in D.C. That's at 7 o'clock. And then on Saturday, PC will host arguably the best team in the country, UConn, 8 p.m. tip at the AMP. All right, now for our trivia answer. The question again, what's the farthest the Friars have made in the NCAA tournament? And the answer is the Final Four twice in 1973 and 1987. That's going to do it for this edition of the PC Hoops Coaches Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you right here next week as we wrap up the regular season and get you set for the Big East tournament.